Hello, so this is my fifth devlog now, and this week was mainly just getting in all of the mechanics and all the code, getting it all in the game, so I can start actually making levels, finding assets for the game, and that kind of stuff. So first of all, I'll show you the menu because I've polished that up slightly. So with the cursor, if you use the mouse, it now disappears, but if you switch the controller, it appears, and the mouse will spawn wherever the cursor was. So when you move the mouse, you'll be back there. See? So that works quite well. I'm pretty happy with that. I also added in this little screen that says a controller recommended for this game when you load it. Also, the issue is that when you go to other scenes, okay, that's a bad example. There we go. Return to the menu. It does come back up because it's just in the scene, but I don't think that's too big of a deal. I just think it's important to have that there because honestly, this game's not great on a keyboard with it being a 3D platformer. It's playable, but it's not really designed with it in mind. Now, as for the game itself, I've actually cleaned up the animations quite a bit, so it does actually run properly now. You can jump, and it doesn't tend to play movement. Also, it does play another model still because just because of the wait time, unfortunately, which is a bit of an issue, but it's better than it was. Yeah, you can actually run now, and it properly does that. Jumping kind of works; it's not as noticeable, so you can see it does go because it does turn off. Again, I'll show you the code later. It's only the attacks and stuff which haven't really been fixed, because I frankly just don't really think I can fix that. Again, I don't think it's too bad to be honest, so I'm not too fussed about that. As for everything else I've added, I added in a darkness volume, which will turn off the directional light in the scene, so you can then put on a hat, which will then light it, which will be used in one of the levels. It's still lit here because also obviously that won't have a mesh render on it. It's still lit here just because the way the Unity scene's built, but I'll change that in the actual scene that uses it. I've also added all these different dispensers. So this one here is spawning breakable walls, so you can smash them all. This one spawns, I forget what that one's. I think that spawns kill walls that come after you, and then this one spawns swapping walls. So when you jump, it swaps them over. I need to fix my input system. I just realised that. I'll fix that and then show it again in the video. I also have torches that you can now burn and light, which activate doors. And unlike the ones in the boss fight, these are permanent, which is why they've got a different colour on. I did also look at adding. Oh, I've got these platforms as well, which when you stand on them, they start breaking and destroying. You see it changes colour. Oops. You can see it changes colour to red and then destroys. Then after a certain amount of time, it resets. And if you do it again, just the same. Yeah, this comes from Mario. The times might change a little bit. Then this is an ice physics volume. It's the first time using physics volumes, but I thought I could use that in a level. It'd be quite cool. As for what else I've got, I think that's pretty much everything. A lot of it was polishing up the character that took a while, and then adding all the different wall types and having it so they dispense and stuff like that. But yeah, pretty happy with it. I did try and add one that spawns like platforms you could use as a lift, which didn't quite work. It just kind of does that. They're supposed to spawn straight, but it just didn't work. And you can use it like this, which I thought was kind of cool, but it doesn't do it consistently enough to actually use in the game, unfortunately. So yeah, but the way I fixed the player inputs for the cursor was keyboard and mouse devices. I added a gamepad, so it swaps between them, and you just have it set here what each is. As for the code itself, so I will admit there's quite a lot of code. There's probably a lot of better ways to do it. Like you could probably just use the same torch in different ones, or each door's going to have to be kind of different because they have a different amount of torches that activate them and stuff. But yeah, it's it works well enough. If I go to my scene, so I really need to sort my things out again. It's got a bit out of control. But sample scene, kaiju, new player movement. Here we go. I'll show you how I've done it because I will admit the code is terrible on this. It functions and works, but it's not good. Okay, so the way it now works is it does draw a. Here we go for jumping. I've improved the raycast, so it does actually do that now. You know, it raycasts properly and returns a result and stuff like that. Then as for the stopping it more consistently, it breaks it every time you jump or are in the air or moving. It's sorry, not moving. It's not, like I say, it's a mess. Like there's got to be a better way of doing it than this. This is just awful. It looks bad. It probably runs terribly. but it functions well enough. It's still not perfect because of the wait for seconds, so like it doesn't stop immediately. It still plays the one you're in for a second, but you know it could be worse. It kind of works in game. I don't think I can get more polished than that, to be completely honest. I used that movement because I thought it'd be easier if it just swapped out because I can't really animate. Yeah, it sounds like it definitely wasn't. So kind of regret that a little bit. But yeah, as for like platforms that destroy, so I've got that's why it's not being on in the game scene. But so if I just move on all this, I'll show you all the code. Oops. So yes, this one quite literally is just like, if you collide with the player, it starts the call routine of time, which waits 2 seconds, then changes it to that colour on the material. Then it waits another 2 seconds, changes it to that colour, waits for 2 seconds, sets the collider and the renderer to false, because obviously you can't set the object to false because it is the object. Then it waits for seconds and sets it to true. I'm going to change that to 2 as well, so it's not just 3. But yeah, so it's quite simple, but yeah. This one is an end of level thing. I don't think I mentioned before that I had a script for that, but it's just a very simple, if you collide with this, go to scene. That's it. This is on that spawns breakable walls, which just the way I did it was just if it collides with melee, it breaks. Also the enemy shooting, because I'm going to attach some of these to the enemies as well and give them projectiles. In fact, I've got that set up as well. I forgot to show you that. But yeah, so pretty much all of the dispensers, both for shooting the projectiles and stuff, do this. And I'm just going to give the enemies them as well. This is the lift spawner. That's the health system. Here we go with the torch check. So you got like it works the same as it does on the boss fight really, but the only difference is I've set this one to be permanent, so it doesn't have a burn time. And also for this one, it's 2 torches rather than 4. The swappable, the ice floor. There's no code on the ice floor. It's just there. This only sets active when you're in it. The dark volume. The reason I did that was because it's actually touched the player. That when you leave it, I kind of want it to go back to not like light, so I can have it so it's like a cave kind of thing. So it'll be dark on the inside but light outside. That just spins around, and again, when the character collides with it, it picks it up. I also have a sound effect that will be put in, but I haven't got that yet. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I did this week. There's a lot of small things, but some of them took were quite a bit of a faff to actually get set up. Mainly the door, because I couldn't remember how to get the door to actually move up properly. But I realised I could just do it by deleting the second line of the movement, so I spent way too long just not thinking, basically. But yeah, I've got the destructible wall. I guess that's the last thing I can really show, which is that's the damageable wall. I don't know. Oh well, it doesn't matter. It's just the same script as this, but with a kill box on the collider, so it's the same thing. But yeah, that's all I've got this week. It doesn't look like much, but this was, like I say, getting all the cool mechanics in and all the main systems, so I can actually start building levels. I plan to make the first level and then playtest, and see how it goes with that. But yeah, that puts me in a pretty good spot at this point in time. I do worry that my game might be a bit too simple now I'm looking at all the mechanics, but it's going to be complete. So I feel like on one hand, yes, it's very simple, but on the other hand, as soon as I scrapped my original idea and basically started from scratch, it's the best thing I could do, really. I don't think I could have made anything particularly crazy or inventive, so doing a safe idea and just getting it to work is probably the best thing I could have done. So yeah, that's the end of this devlog. So I'll see you next time. Hello, obviously I did my devlog already, but I have changed one thing because I realised an issue. That one part where I said that the input system didn't work when the platform wasn't swapping, yeah, I realised that's because I had the multiple control schemes and it wasn't built into the character, I think. So it actually made it so you could jump with a controller and not on a keyboard, even though both were set here. So one would be keyboard and one would be on a controller. It didn't work, and like jumping on a controller would activate like one of these, but not both. And same with the mouse, and the mouse movement changed so you'd only like, rather than being able to move like forever like this, it would just stop you at some point. It was like just on press movement. So I did have to just take that out. So now the menus do just kind of go back to how they were before. So Sadly, yes, the cursor doesn't delete when you're on the menu. Tries to get it to work, but it completely broke the game, and I don't think I have time to actually fix or add that in. Might look at it if I have time in the polishing phase, because, like I said, I did get it working on the menu. However, if it completely breaks the game, I don't think it's a good addition, even if it makes the menu a lot more polished. So yeah, that's my update on that. So the bit about the menus being more polished, scratch that, because they're not anymore. They're back to how they were.